Welcome to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Sanders Foods. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at your hometown grocery store. First Federal Savings Bank. They don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Riverside Rentals. Discover canoeing, kayaking, and lazy river tubing right here in Winamac. Action Plumbing and Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Been serving people since 1994. And now, the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Hello. Welcome to the Winamac Athletic Podcast, an inside look to the athletic program, communicating with players, coaches, Winamac alums. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. This is Justin Ruff, Winamac alum, and the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast. We have a lot to go over today, important things to go over. The agenda we have for the rest of the week, today, of course, and the rest of the week. We will also bring on an athlete and have a spotlight on their 2024 season so far as they get closer to that sectional play for the end of their year. So let's just go ahead and dive right into it. Today, we have a lot going on. Volleyball, they host Argus today at 6 p.m. Winamac High School. It's a great thing. We do have Coach Caston on today. She will talk about this event. Beat Cancer event. Everybody go to this game and wear pink tonight. It should be a good one against the Argus Dragons. Just representing everybody who's, has had cancer before, has beaten it. It's a big spotlight to them and Coach Caston for putting this on. So they're at it tonight, and then on Thursday, they travel to Rochester to take on the Zebras in Rochester land. So, and then they go to Attica, going their last invitational of the season for the volleyball squad. So good luck to the girls there in the maroon. Next up, we have the soccer team. Soccer team went at it last night, senior night against Westville. Unfortunately, they came up short. 0-1. Now, I was there. I witnessed it. It was a game that I personally feel like Winamac controlled the whole game. The ball was on our side the majority of the game. And then at one point, Westville, it got past us. Westville ended up scoring in the second half. And then the Mother Nature kicked in, and it started to get a little bit dark with 9 minutes left remaining in the game still. The game was called by the referees. Unfortunately, we will not know ever if we would ever score a goal. Multiple shots that we had, multiple opportunities, but couldn't get it done before Mother Nature turned the lights off on us. But they ended up losing that game. However, hopefully they bring this steam and bring it on to their next matchup, and that's their last regular season game. They travel to Caston, take a visit to a Comet, and that will be Thursday at 6 p.m. And then next week, sectionals is approaching. They had sectional draw last Sunday. They ended up drawing North Miami, who they played earlier on this year. They fell 0-1, and I know talking to lots of players and coaches, they are very excited to have the opportunity to go up against the Warriors again. The Warriors Showdown is what I like to call it. They will play the winner of Lakeland Christian in Caston. And then at the bottom of that bracket, they have a very good Argus team going up against Culver. So that's what the bracket looks like. But right now, it's Caston, North Miami for the soccer team. So good luck to Coach Badao and the soccer squad there. Cross country, they travel. Actually, they do not travel for the first time in their season. They travel to the Winamac Towns Park, which you all should do on Saturday at 10 a.m. The high school is hosting the Hoosier North Athletic Conference Invitational. That will be at 10 a.m., like I mentioned. The middle school's at it, too, right after them. They have their middle school Hoosier North Invitational as well. That will be right after at 11:30 for our cross-country team, so good luck to Mikey Haschel and the runners there for both high school and middle school. We do have Mikey Haschel with us today, so stay tuned as we have a great conversation with him. Football squad, they're at it this Friday. They travel to the Blue Jay house against North Judson. That will be Friday at 7:30 Eastern Time. They took on the Warriors of North Miami last weekend. They fell short. Stay tuned as we do have Coach Burgess on. He will go through the ins and outs of that game and what needs to happen to end up beating North Judson this Friday. So, again, like I mentioned, we have a lineup of guests. We have 3 coaches waiting in line to speak with us today. We also have a junior from the soccer team stepping in, communicating with us, going through so far their season of their soccer program, and also talking about what they would like to see in the sectional play as they get closer to sectional play. So, hey, you're doing it so far. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
How's it going, everyone? My name's Talon Garner, student athlete for Winamac High School, and you're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, super blessed once again to have the head coach of the Winamac football team and Coach Josh Burgess. How's it going, Coach? Thanks again for joining us this week on this show. Let's talk about your squad a little bit, Coach. Last week, you guys took on a North Miami team, Battle of the Warriors, and you guys ended up falling 41-14. However, I was there on the sideline, and it was 14-0 going into halftime. And I'm sure you're aware of this, Coach. I'm not going to lie, but the energy was completely low. Just not a lot of spark coming from your squad there in the first half. I don't know what you did, Coach, but you did something in that locker room to spark them. And they came out right off the gate, scoring 2 touchdowns in a row. They were energized. They were communicating. They were pumped up. And then we got pushed back down again after that 73-yard run touchdown by North Miami. They really ran the ball pretty good, and they did at that time. And then from there on, they didn't really look back. They took the energy again. But let's talk about that game, Coach, from North Miami and what we can take out of a positive from that game.
Yeah, Justin, first of all, thanks for the coverage. We really appreciate it. You're exactly right. We didn't have a whole lot of energy going into that game. Place we've never been before against a team we've never played. So I think maybe that had something to do with it. We were able to get after our guys a little bit at halftime and just talked about the effort a little bit, how they could play a little bit harder. And I thought our guys responded well coming out. Honestly, we played well for about 10 minutes in that game. And if we're going to beat anybody on our schedule, we've got to play a little bit better than that, obviously, and we've got to play consistently for 48 minutes. So, positive. We did respond coming out of halftime. We got a couple scores on, but again, we still have to do a little bit better of the consistency and making sure that we put that effort forth in all situations. Another positive we took out of that, I thought the play of Aiden Schooler, for his first time playing quarterback, I thought he handled himself really well and ran the offense the way that we needed him to. And I thought defensively at times we played all right. Give North Miami a lot of credit. They ran the ball well, and we just had a really hard time getting them off the field. I think they had 21 first downs. We only had 3 for the entire game. So, again, some positives we can look at, but definitely some things we need to get better at as we move forward into the back half of our season.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And, like I said, the score is kind of deceiving because, it was 41-14, but it was a lot closer than that score, I do believe, just being there. That third quarter, we really pulled it together a little bit, and but like I said, they took over again in the fourth quarter, and we just couldn't climb that mountain. But let's talk about your roster a little bit, Coach. It changed a little bit from our last game with the quarterback, Xavier Adriano, our freshman. He has a concussion now. He's out for a couple weeks. Next man up was Aiden Schooler. Let's talk about him a little bit, how that process went. I know he wasn't playing quarterback originally, But of course, that stuff happens when you're a coach and staff and players. So let's talk about that process and any other injuries that occurred last week. I saw that another freshman lineman, Lane Tetzloff, had a knee brace the other day. So let's talk about our injuries and the next man up for our squad, Coach.
Yeah, I mentioned Aiden previously. We just thought as a coaching staff that he gave us the best chance to run our offense in the way that we needed to. And again, I thought he did a very good job for never having played quarterback at any level of stepping in and getting a couple scores in for us and running the offense that we asked him to. So we're hoping Xavier gets back here in the next couple weeks. We've had some good news on him, and he's progressing as far as his concussion is concerned. You mentioned Lane Tetzloff. Again, we've lost him for about 6 to 8 weeks. No tear in any ligaments, but he's got a pretty severe sprain, possibly just a partial tear. So no surgery for him, but he's going to have to do some rehab for a couple weeks. And then, just normal bumps and bruises that we get throughout a football game. So we'll kind of reevaluate where everybody's at here at the start of this week and see who we have available for North Judson. But, we always talk about it to our guys. You never know when you're going to have an opportunity to step in and play. And I thought that our guys stepped in when they had that opportunity, took advantage of that.
Absolutely, Coach. And for someone who hadn't played quarterback, Schooler, I do believe, from my view, did a pretty good job. I mean, out there, he looked pretty confident. He didn't force anything, and he was doing the job he was supposed to do, filling in for the freshman Adriano. So, hopefully he can fill those shoes until Xavier steps back in. But let's move on to next week, Coach. Let's turn the page to one of our rivals this week. We travel to North Judson, one of the best teams in the area. As we all know, they're 6-0, ranked very high in the rankings. That shouldn't matter. What matters is we play North Judson, and I'm sure you're going to be saying that repeatedly to your boys. Records don't matter. Rankings don't matter. It's North Judson. So let's talk about them a little bit, what you know about the Blue Jays and what needs to happen to steal a victory at the nest there in North Judson.
Yeah, like you said, we're traveling to North Judson this week, and we're excited about the opportunity to play them. It doesn't happen very often that you get to play the number one ranked team in the state. So our kids will be excited about that. It is a rivalry. Our kids always play them hard, and you can kind of throw the records out. It's going to be a tough task. North Judson, really big and physical. They're big up front. They've got a lot of experience in the backfield with the Benson kid, Will Cox, their quarterback, McDaniel. They do a good job of running their offense. So defensively, they get after it with their 3-4 defense, the front three especially, with the Sanchez kid, Cole Kozakar, and then a couple other guys they rotate in, really are physical at the point of attack. So we're going to have our hands full, obviously. We need to have a good week of practice this week, make sure that we get our game plan implemented, and just have to go up there with a little bit of confidence. Again, we focus on improving every week. So we do that. The score will take care of itself. So excited to have an opportunity to play against Judson. I know their coaching staff pretty well with Coach Lambert, Coach McGowan, the rest of their coaches. They do an excellent job. So we're really going to have to be prepared and really ready to go when we travel up there on Friday night to play.
Hey, fantastic stuff again, Coach. Thanks again for jumping on with us. Like always, great conversations. I really do appreciate your time and what you do, not only communicating with me, Coach, but what you're doing with the squad. I love being on the sideline. When WKBI asks me all the time to jump on, and it's hard to turn down because I just love being on the sideline, watching you work, watching your coaching staff work and your players. So you're doing a great job. Keep up the work. And it's crazy, Coach. We only have 3 regular season games left. It's just wild to me. North Judson this week, and then senior night, and then our last away game. So it's coming up, Coach. Believe it or not, season's going down, fall time. But again, thanks again for your time. Do you have any last words or comments before you leave today?
Yeah, Justin, as always, we really appreciate the coverage. Anytime we can get the word out about our kids doing good things, we really appreciate that. So thank you. And again, the season's really flying by. Hard to believe that we're in October already this week. So we're just going to continue to take advantage of our opportunities, try to get a little bit better each week. see what our sectional draw kind of falls out as, and we're going to go from there. So we're excited about this week. Hopefully our fans come out and support us. I know they will, and we'll be ready to get after North Judson here on Friday night.
Hey, thanks again, Coach. Really appreciate that. That was the head coach of the Winnemac football team, Coach Josh Burgess. Next in the lineup, we have the head coach of the Winnemac Cross Teams, Winnemac Hall of Famer, Coach Mikey Haschel. He will talk about their invitational last week at CMA. Then he will also talk about what's up next, and that is the Hoosier North Conference Invitational here in town. So we will have Mikey Haschel on right up after this. Hey, you're doing it. You're listening to the Winnemac Athletic Podcast.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Logan Friedel, student athlete for Winnemac High School, and you're listening to the Winnemac Athletic Podcast.
Welcome back to the Winnemac Athletic Podcast. Today, super blessed, like always, to have a Hall of Famer in the building. Today is the head coach of the Winnemac Cross Teams, Coach Mikey Haschel. How's it going, Coach? Thanks again. Once again, like always, for joining us. Always blessed to have you on. So appreciate the time and talk about some cross-country teams and how you all did. Let's talk about how you all did last week at the CMA Invitational. 2 questions for you all off the bat. How did everybody do? That's a simple one. How did teams do? Any PRs? How the runners do? All that fun stuff. Then question number 2. Did you guys jump in that lake? That's the big one. Did the tradition continue or add on at the CMA Invitational, Mikey?
Always a pleasure, Justin. So CMA, it was some ups and downs. Highlights would be that we had 2 medalists with Logan Friedel in 4th and Cadence Hoover in 19th. Also PRs from Jersey Himes and Braylon Becker. The teams were both 8th place, and both the girls and the boys closed meets for the medium small schools. Went into it probably pretty sore, a little tired from the training kind of hitting the apex here, getting ready to cut back for conference, sectionals, and regionals. So hopefully next Saturday we'll come back with some fresh legs. As far as that lake goes, I guess it's my understanding that it's pretty discouraged that they jump in, that the teams over the years have actually not been doing that. And, I'm fine with that. The claim is that there's some zebra mussels out there that can get you, but I don't know about all that. So anyway, maybe next year we'll figure it out.
That's awesome, Coach. Good for you guys at that CMA Invitational there. My next question, you have a couple of Athlete of the Weeks we have talked about that happened last week, one of them being on your squad. When it comes to Logan Friedel, we have to talk about him. It was because of that under-17 run that he had a couple weeks ago. It's wild because when we sat down with Friedel to begin the season, that was one of his goals, and him reaching that is just a fantastic thing. I'm sure now he has already set another goal, another PR to target and try to get. So that, knowing Friedel, that's an awesome thing. And then you also have, we'll talk about some middle school cross country. You have another middle school runner who was Athlete of the Week, which is fantastic stuff. You love seeing the middle school get recognized like that. And that was Alice Goodman. Another Goodman is getting ready, Coach, and ready for high school cross country. No big deal. But that's awesome stuff. If you can, Coach, let's talk about those 2 runners and what earned them that Athlete of the Week.
Yeah, talking about 2 great kids there that earned the Athlete of the Week crown there. Training in cross country it's so difficult because everybody trains differently. We try and paint, with as broad a brush as we can to try and, logistically make sense of training. Like you say, with the meet going the way it did, some people are kind of beat up, whereas some are not. And Logan is just one of those type of guys that, no matter what we've thrown at him, he's been consistently dropping his times or being real close to him. So real stud out there, and getting under 17 was a big deal for him. And as those things go, generally it's once you're under 17, you're looking at 1630. It's kind of a magic number for trying to get to state, and then obviously you're looking at being under 16. Knowing Logan, he's probably skipping that 1630 step and looking at the the under 16, which I don't know, man. The Winamac course is so fast, so that could be possible. Yeah, Alice, great kid. Being the solo middle school girls runner, she is the girls team. So had a lot of fun with her in the beginning of the season. She's quite the little recruiter. It was a little late in the game to actually get some of the names to stick, but yeah, I'm hoping she's in it for the long haul, because she's been just a great personality to be around too. And obviously the Goodmans are coming around, so hopefully that's going to be somebody that's going to be legacy from here on out.
Well, that's fantastic. Pretty awesome stuff, Coach, and congratulations for the two of them to get that honor. Let's turn the page, Coach, and talk about next week. It's a big one. Our very first and last invitational here in Winamac, our home one, and that will be a big one. A Hoosier North Conference is coming here in Winamac, here in our town park. It will be at 10 o'clock in the morning, I do believe, Coach. And it's a big deal also because, for the boys, they have an opportunity to win that this year. And the girls, they have won like 4 or 5 in a row now, I do believe. My stats are correct. Coach, what needs to happen for the girls to repeat once again and for the boys to also win and be on top of the Hoosier North Conference? I know lots of teams, we've mentioned this before, Coach, lots of teams love coming to the Winamac Town Park and running because it's where they can get their PRs. Heck, that's why I always loved our meets here in town, because that's where I got my PR. But let's just talk about what needs to happen this weekend, Coach, for both of our squads to be victorious.
Yeah, it's crazy to think the conference is already here. We've been working for months, and the Saturday to Saturday, every race has been a time trial for conference and sectional, and everybody wants to get that big PR on our course, and we get one chance, and it's a serious race, so there's some stakes. I mean, we've seen all the teams. I feel confident in our ability, and hopefully everybody can go out there and get that PR that they've earned from all the work that they've done thus far. I know that we're also trying to look past that to sectionals, because it's kind of an interesting schedule with there being a gap week between conference and sectional. In the past, we've gone conference one weekend, sectionals the following, and then so on and so forth through the tournament. So we have to play it a little safe, as far as how the taper works, so that we don't just drop anything off too early, because we've got sectionals 2 weeks later. So but I think everybody will be in a good position to go out there and run their best and hopefully get those times that they've earned.
Well, best of luck this Saturday here at the Hoosier North to repeat for the girls and to take one for the boys. Thanks again for spending the time, like always, jumping on and speaking with me. Do you have any last words or comments for us today, Coach?
Thanks for having me, Justin. We've been on the road for 6 meets now, and we're finally back in the MAC. So just once again, extending that invitation for all the fans to come out Saturday and watch the middle school and the high school run here for our conference. It sure would be appreciated if we had a big maroon wave out there chasing them around the town park. So hopefully we'll see you all out there.
I appreciate that, Coach. Thanks again. That was the Hall of Fame head coach for the Winamac cross-country teams, Coach Mikey Haschel. Next up, we will have the head coach of the Winamac volleyball team, Coach Heather Caston. She will talk about her agenda for this week, and also she will talk about her athlete of the week that just happened last week. So stay tuned. Next up is the head coach of the volleyball team. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Lindsay, student athlete for Winamac High School, and you're listening to Winamac Athletic Podcast.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, super honored once again to have the head coach of the Winamac volleyball team, Coach Heather Caston. How's it going, Coach? Thanks a lot for jumping on, answering these questions again. Always awesome to have you on. We have a lot to talk about, but before we dig into your team, let's talk about a member of your team, and that is the freshman who was just honored last week, Warrior of the Week. Let's talk about Ava Malco. Like I said, she's a freshman who's starting on your squad, and when I've seen her a couple of times this year in person and on, RTC TV, she looks like she belongs out there, Coach, and I think that's one of the reasons why she was Athlete of the Week. She's super athletic. She does a lot of good things. I can see her to continue to work on her spiking, her kills, her killing ability. But let's talk about her as a player and how she is so far this year, her freshman year, being able to grow as a Winnemac Warrior. Let's talk about her, Coach.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. She is definitely a national athlete out there on the floor, Justin. I've been watching Ava grow through middle school. She played June's this past winter for her volleyball club. Ended up her and Grace Rock both on the same team, heading down to Florida to play nationals. And they've both just done such an outstanding job kind of carving their own little spot there on the varsity squad. It's really unusual to see freshmen step up and fill a role the way that they have, but they have done a wonderful job for us. Ava in particular this week really stepped up. She's up with 10 kills and 3 block assists against Triton, which is no easy feat. Triton's definitely a tough squad. They've got the Bears girl there on the outside, and she really did a number on it, but not Ava. She's got 63 kills season long for us. She's third behind my 2 junior medals, who have been our go-to the last 2 years. So for her to be right up there with the kill count, I mean, that just say something about her. She's definitely one of those coachable kids that we have, always have a smile on her face. She's a good teammate, she's always taking it up out there on the floor. I love seeing her be able to come her role today and that. I mean, she's always coming off the floor looking for tweaks and things that she can do to be better, and take her with a file at a time. I mean, I can really dig in and get into the nitty gritty, and she just goes, okay, thanks, coach, and is ready to move on. So love that about her. I'm so excited to have her for the next 3 years and see what she can do for us.
That's some pretty awesome stuff, Coach. And again, like I mentioned, your squad, you have a pretty younger squad, and I can't wait to watch them grow with Malco and with Roth and with Maggie Keller and others there who, even like your JV team, I feel like your JV team is, starting to improve and get the ball rolling there. So just awesome stuff coming in the works, Coach. And, this year is very important too. It's how you finish, how your senior squad in your upperclassmen when it comes to your juniors as well, and Brooke Roush and Marissa Iverson and girls like that, Dickinson. So, to really show an example on how to finish the year strong. And last week you had three games, pretty good ones. I know the last 2 you had Pioneer and Triton, pretty good squads. You guys ended up falling those 3, but this week's even more important. You have 3 games as well. Next one is today against Argus, and that will be home. Let's talk about that squad. Argus, they're in our conference now, and so it should be a pretty good matchup there. Their record's not as strong, but records, again, we're getting down to the end, Coach. Records don't really matter. You go out there and you play some volleyball, and I can't wait to see you girls go at it against the Dragons this week. So let's talk about your future this week for your volleyball squad, what needs to happen to pick up some W's, Coach.
Yes, we are back in action tonight. Our guest comes for our Blackout Cancer games tonight, so pretty excited about that. We usually have a great turnout. And in Rochester, we travel over there on Thursday. So you're right, we need to finish strong. I mean, I tell the girls all the time, every team is beatable, including us. So we've got to play our A games every single time. The toughest part right now, I think, is, we've talked about this a lot, our motivation on the floor comes from confidence, and that confidence comes from success. So it's kind of that vicious cycle of, how you can get job experience without getting a job, but can't get the job without the experience. So we're kind of in that cycle right now, but this is a perfect week for us to really rock in and play our game so that we can find some of that success and start to build that confidence out on the floor. Our defense has been strong all year with Maggie and Grace running that back row for us. I think our starting has stepped up. We definitely struggled with that at the beginning of the season. It has not been near the problem that it was at the beginning, but we've just got to convert on offense. That's been the biggest thing lately. We're getting the ball up, we're getting the ball over the net, but when it comes to putting that ball down on the other side, we're struggling right there. So we're going to continue to work on that and see what we can do to earn us some more points. But Saturday we head over to Attica, and that's going to be a tough way to end our week. I think we've got Attica, West Vigo, and Providence Cristo Rey from Indy at Attica. It's the first time in that tournament, so it'll be a nice way to round out our season. I think really get some good tough competition before we head into our senior night against Dresden on Monday the 7th, and then Thursday down at Logansport to end the regular varsity season. Our DD does have one final tournament at Culver on October 12th, but we're looking to have the sectional further. Not to say that we're overlooking any of those games coming up, but it is how you end the season. We've got to stay strong, and if you take sectional, let's remember that you were 4-19 or whatever it ends up being. So we are definitely looking at these as ways to prepare us for the tournament and finish strong.
That's awesome, Coach. And if I do believe I can count this high, but, by just looking at your schedule, believe it or not, I can. You guys have 6 regular season games left, but 6, that's 6. That's almost one hand, I do believe. Amounts of games you have left, Coach, until sectional time. It's getting down to it. And, again, this week you're knocking 3 of them out. So and then next week it'll be 3 left. So season's coming down to it, and again, like I mentioned, records don't matter. It's you go out there and you play some Winamac volleyball. I absolutely love it, and I absolutely love you having you on, Coach. Thanks a lot for spending the time. Talk about your athlete of the week. Talk about your squad and what needs to happen for the future. So thanks a lot, Coach. Do you have any last words or comments for us today, Coach?
Just want to encourage everybody to come out tonight against Argus and support our Blackout Cancer team. We're going to have the volleyball to raffle off and raffle basket. So lots of good things happening tonight. That money will go towards the Susan G. Komen for a cure. Hopefully we'll have good winners and recognize some very special people that have fought and battled against cancer, and recognize those that may have lost that battle. So if you've got the time, come on out and share that with us tonight. Next Monday, we'll be back at home for our last game on senior night against Dresden, always a good one. So if you're looking for something to do in the next week or two, we've got a lot of good volleyball happening.
Hey, I appreciate your time once again, Coach. Thanks a lot. That was the head coach of the Winamac volleyball team, Coach Heather Caston. Next up, we will have our athlete spotlight of the week, and today it is Mr. Carter Ulerick, the junior, for our Winamac soccer squad. He is going to be on to communicate with us about his current soccer team, his current year that is coming down to an end. Unfortunately, they have about 3 games left. They just had their sectional draw that we talked about earlier. And so we will have him on to talk about everything we need to know about Carter Ulerick. Hey, he's up. You're listening to the Winamac Athletic Podcast.
It's time for the Warrior Athlete of the Day. Let's return to the voice of the Winamac Athletic Podcast, Justin Ruff.
Welcome back to the Winamac Athletic Podcast. Today, our athlete spotlight of the day is our soccer player, Carter Ulerick. Carter, hey, first of all, thanks a lot for joining us, man. How's it going?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Well, hey, Carter, first, before we dig deep into so far overall this year, let's if people don't know, let's talk about all the sports you're currently involved in.
Well, obviously, soccer, and which is my primary, is baseball.
Baseball. So if you had to pick baseball over soccer?
Baseball, definitely.
Baseball. Awesome. Good to know. All right, let's talk about your role on the soccer field. Okay, I know doing some, digging deep in the past. Of course, you're a junior now. You've been playing all 3 years. And with soccer, your freshman year, stop me if I'm wrong, Ulrich, but your freshman year, you played majority as a goalie, correct?
Yeah.
And last year you mixed it up a little bit with Haig as well. This year they're kind of moving you more towards defense, right? I mean, you're playing that more than goalie, especially the last few games. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your goal now on the team other than being a goalie?
Just trying to keep people from even getting shots off in general. And during practices, I try to help our goalie work on stuff that he needs to do since he's got 2 more years after this.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. Well, we tell the truth on this show, right? This is a good little tell the truth, show here. What do you like better? You like being on defense or you like goalie?
Defense, definitely.
You like defense? You be more, what are you, more involved defensively, you think?
Yeah.
See, I played soccer, believe it or not. And I was playing, I wasn't goalie, but I was mid defender. And I love defense more than I was being mid player because, I don't know, you have one goal, right? Stop the offense. And that was enjoyable. We had a good defensive team back then, but you're a defender now, right? Okay. That's awesome. All right, let's move on. And you being a defender, kind of limits your shots, shooting ability on the offensive end, right? But you did have your first goal this year as a junior. Let's talk about that a little bit. That was the first game of the year, I believe, right, against Delphi. Can you walk us through that moment, the feeling you had? I remember my very first goal, and it was, I remember exactly where I was, the exact moment and stuff like that. But I'm sure it was an exciting little moment. Score your first career goal, is that right?
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. I was playing mid most of that game, and then we had Sean and Jabin up front, and Sean hit me with a pass, and I just put it right by the post.
And just full of excitement, right? You scoring your first goal. Pretty cool stuff. And again, I remember that very first moment. And heck, I was a senior that year. You're a junior. Hopefully, you might get some more moments like that. Pretty awesome stuff. Now, let's talk about your team, Ulrich, okay? You guys have been playing well. You have won 3 of your last 4 games. You have 2 left, including tonight. That's not including sectionals, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But you've been on a streak. You've been playing well. Is there anything that you guys have been doing differently these last 4 games? And you lost to that really good, it was a really good Rochester team, but anything differently you guys been doing as a team?
We've started talking more as a team, letting people know where their offense is or their defense and where to try to place the ball on shots. So that helps, definitely.
So communication, right, is one of the main things. And I feel like, heck, you know this, you're a sport guy. I think every sport, you play better as a team if you communicate with your teammates. And that's what Coach Badayo really stressed about, playing the game, being excited about playing the game and learning the positions and stuff like that. So that's awesome to hear. And also, you guys are playing really well together. Culture, let's talk about your team culture. I'm assuming you guys like being around each other. And that's, of course, winning helps. Like I said, you've won 3 of the last 4. But let's talk about so far, heading into sectionals, your team culture.
Friendly, having fun. It's basically all it's about for us. So
that's can lead into success, right? Absolutely awesome. All right, let's move on to any traditions. You have a couple of them. I'm assuming with this team, any soccer traditions. You've been involved now. This is your 3rd year, as I mentioned. But anything you guys normally do as a team that continues as a soccer tradition?
Every year we go to a Notre Dame game, which is fun, and then go out to eat as a team there. And at the end of the season, we have a little FIFA tournament each year too.
That's awesome. And you just recently went to a Notre Dame game, right? Soccer. Did they win?
Yeah, Notre Dame beat Clemson 2-1.
And Clemson's pretty good. That's what I've been told.
I think they're both ranked top 20, so
that's awesome.
Good game.
Pretty awesome. Okay, let's give us some inside info, Ulrich. Let's give us some inside info on this soccer squad. Any funny or, enjoyable moments on this squad so far this year that you guys had?
Just making jokes with each other on bus rides or just before games and stuff like that. Or making jokes with other teams. Definitely fun, too.
Okay. So the bus rides are enjoyable, should say, right? Yeah. That's awesome. They should be, especially after you win, right? Those bus rides should be fun after you win. All right, so like I mentioned, Ulrich, you guys have 2 games left tonight against Westfield and then your Caston, your last game, a regular season game against Caston. You guys, and then in sectional. So you guys just had sectional draw. I mean, you guys drew North Miami. Talk me through how you feel about drawing North Miami very first game.
I'm really glad that we pulled them. I mean, should be, in my opinion, game for us to win, should make it the second round.
Because you guys played them earlier this year, and you lost 1-0. However, I've been told by multiple people, Ulrich, that that's a game you should have won. So I'm assuming that is why you're feeling that you wanted to play them and you're happy, right?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Okay, last question, no big deal. What has soccer really taught you so far? Not only just this year, Ulrich, but overall, your 3 years playing, what has soccer taught you?
Communication skills for sure, and then being respectful and everything to referees, other teams, coaches, everything like that.
I love it. Hey, we did it. That wasn't that bad, right? Pretty awesome. Do you have any last words or comments for us today, Carter?
No, sir.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Hey, that was Carter Ulerick, the junior here at Winnemac Soccer Squad. Super awesome to have you on, Carter. And big shout out to all of our coaches today to jump on. Coach Josh Burgess from the football team, Coach Heather Caston, volleyball, and Coach Mikey Haschel. Again, it's just awesome to have the coaches on, talk about their team, their performances, and their future for the rest of the week. So big shout out to them, and of course our athletic director Brian Leverins for allowing me to interview those coaches and our players, our student athletes. Another episode in the books. It's been an honor to be the host of this Winnemac Athletic Podcast. A big week for our athletics as the fall sports start to wind down. Don't forget to tune in to our last week's episode, our very first Throwback Thursday episode. Great conversation with our Hall of Fame coach and Coach Tim Roth. If you haven't, taken the time to listen to that episode, go ahead and do so. Just great combos there, great inside information. I learned a lot by just communicating with him in that conversation, that interview. So if you haven't spent the time to listen to that, go ahead and do that. And of course, our very next Throwback Thursday episode will be next Thursday as we continue those on the bi-weekly cycle. So, hey, again, thank you so much for listening. You've done it. This is the Winnemac Athletic Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Winnemac Athletic Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Sanders Foods. Whatever you're looking for, you'll find it at your hometown grocery store. First Federal Savings Bank. They don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Riverside Rentals. Discover canoeing, kayaking, and lazy river tubing right here in Winnemac. Action Plumbing and Heating for all your plumbing, heating, and cooling needs. Been serving people since 1994. We would like to thank our sponsors for sponsoring today's show and being part of the Winnemac Athletic Podcast.
Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe. Go Warriors!